Welcome once again to the Foreclosure Show. I am your host, L.W. Johnson, and today we're going to uncover equity and the reason why you need to know equity when you are a homeowner. Whether or not you're in foreclosure or not, you need to know what your house is worth and what your options are at every point in the game. Okay? So let's get to work. Now, we're going to peel back the skin of the onion and try to explain to you why exactly all investors, most investors that are in real estate, they're hovering over the foreclosure market. There's a reason for this. The reason for this is because the most homeowners saved up their money, bought a property, and have no idea what the payments would be. They have no idea what their equity is. They have no idea how much they own. They have no clue what their rights are. They're just totally just put their heads down and get to work, but nobody knows what the house is worth. Okay, so the reason why there's so much activity, so much fervor, so much investors, so much seediness, so much vultures flocking to foreclosures is because there's money there. There's money that they know the value of your house more than you know the value of your house. And that's the problem with the foreclosure market. And that's the problem where people don't understand the value. And so therefore you're being taken advantage of. That's why, the wholesalers that come in and tell a guy, a guy's got some equity in the house and they tell you, yeah, I could clear you up and get you to give you 5 or 10 grand. Meanwhile, the guy's got 100 grand, 200 grand in the property, and the wholesaler is picking your pockets clean. But because you don't know it, you think he's doing you a favor. So we're going to pull back the onion and just the seediness of it. I mean, there's so much seediness going on. I mean, I've been on all sides of this business, but the one thing that we don't do is try to take advantage of somebody. Okay, so we are running the Foreclosure Show because there's too much activity on the other side of this taking advantage of good folks who have done nothing but work and may have had a hiccup or two. And, the bank, quite frankly, the bank is the biggest pimp in the country. The bank wants their money no matter what. And you are a pimp for the bank. So just so you guys understand, the bank wants their money and you better have their money come hell or high water. And that's just the bottom line. So we're going to explain to you why there's so much activity in the foreclosure market. So let's get to work. Okay, let's get to work on the equity and explain to you. That's a big topic. So we might not be able to cover this. Well, as a matter of fact, we won't be able to cover this in one go around. So this is going to take a while for us to cover it, and then for you to have questions and come back so that you could better understand. So we're going to do a simple example today. Equity. When you buy a house, pretty simple. We're going to use simple, straightforward numbers so that everybody know what we don't lose anybody. When you buy a house, you buy a property, you've got to put up roughly 20%. For those who come in on a program, FHA or any of the other programs, if you're under 20%, then the bank you will have to get PMA. What a PMA, which is an insurance that bumps you up and allows you to come in under 20% so that you are at the 20% threshold, because the bank typically has 80% and you've got 20%. So if you're coming in at 5% or one of these other programs, a VA program, some of those guys are paying 3%. So somebody's kicking in the difference. It's not somebody. You're kicking in the difference. It's just on a payment schedule as opposed to upfront. So you've got PMA. So that's a little bit of a side issue. However, 80-20 is typically what the deal is. Now, going forward, you buy a house, you've been living there, everything's good, you like the house, and you're working to maintain and pay the bills. Let's say 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, something happens, you fall ill, your wife falls ill, your husband falls ill, and you get a bump in the road. You can't make the payments, and you're struggling to keep your head above water. Next thing you know, you're in foreclosure and the bank wants their money. So for simplicity purposes, we're going to give a number. We're going to say you bought a property for $100,000 15 years ago. The property now is worth $200,000, and you're now running into a little bit of trouble with the bank. So, what is the equity? Is the question, and why are the investors and the other seedy element hovering around foreclosure? Okay, so we're gonna explain and show you guys where you need to be and why every homeowner, every person going through foreclosure, you need to know what your equity is. Trust me, the other side knows. The investors know that are looking to buy your property. The wholesalers definitely know when they're buying your property, and all the other guys who are trying to scam and scam you out of your money that you have no idea that you have, by the way. So here it is, the real skinny. Now, you bought your property for $100,000. It's now worth $200,000. So you're 15 years in, and your property has doubled in value. That means 200 minus 100. So you're at 100% increase in your value. If you've got a mortgage for at $100,000, your payments is somewhere in $1,000 range, maybe less than that. But for argument's sake, just say $1,000. So if you're in foreclosure, typically in a foreclosure, the bank is looking for two payments. If you're down two payments, they're sending you a foreclosure letter. And in foreclosure, you are also going to be paying their attorney fees. Okay, so their attorney fees, somewhere probably in the 13, 15 grand neighborhood. You owe $2,000, 2 months down. So you're looking at 17 grand, give or take. You know what? Let's round it up to 20 grand tops, right? So what is your equity and what are your options? Your options are, you could either sell the house. Most homeowners don't know that they could sell the house. You think you're in foreclosure and you're locked in and the bank is charging in to take the house and they could sell it. No, that's not the case. You can sell the house yourself, through a broker. If you're selling the house, don't tell anybody your house is in foreclosure. If a broker is on top of his game or her game, they'll be able to look at the list and find out if your house is in foreclosure or not. But that's not for you to tell anyone that you're in foreclosure. Okay. You have equity, so you can sell the house and you would get equity from it. The equity that you get from it is the market value in your property right now. For those who don't know how to do that, you got to go to Zillow or Trulia or some real estate site that gives you the current data, the last comps, what's called comps, which are houses that were sold within the last 3 months to 6 months that are in your neighborhood that are comparable to your house. Okay, so that's how you get a comp. So you look around at the comps, and you see that your house, a house like your house, within X amount of miles, 10 to 30 miles, sold for 200 grand. Now, you bought your house for 100. You're looking at worst case scenario, paying the bank 20 grand. That means that you have got 80 grand in equity in the house. Okay. So if you sell that house for 200 grand, and condition has a lot to do with it. If your house is a wreck, then you're probably not going to get 200 grand for the house. Just so you guys understand that. But If your house is pristine and it's well maintained and it's in sellable shape, well, first of all, everything is sellable. But if it's in top of the market shape, then you'll get top of the market money. If it's not, then you're going to get a fraction of that. But you're not going to get $100,000 for it. You will get the condition of your house is gonna knock the price down if your house is in it's a fixer upper, or it's reasonable, or it's on top of the market. So depending on what your house is, the condition of your house, the price goes up and down. Anyway, you're looking at $80,000 in equity. Now, the reason why there is such fervor, and if you open up the internet, you'll see everybody's trying to get a foreclosure. Why? Because most foreclosure victims don't understand value. The investors know. They look at a house and they go, "Oh, this house is $200,000, and I could pay the bank or get this guy to sell his house to me and give him some story that I'm going to help you and I'm going to save you from your credit." And to a guy who doesn't know what his or a lady, the house is worth, $5,000 sounds great. Oh man, you're going to save me? You're going to give me $5,000 to move? You're going to give me $10,000 to move so I could reset and pay my bills? And a lot of people jump at that. That's the wholesaler's entire game right there. Anybody calling you, telling you, we're going to save your credit and we're going to give you $5,000 to move. And that's because look, first of all, guys, no one calls you on the phone if they can't make any money. Okay. If your house was a wreck